All right, so for the second time in a span of just 7 days, the New York Knicks defeated the Boston Celtics. This win gave the Knicks 9 straight wins. Mind you, they had an 8-game win streak back in December, meaning they've recorded 2 separate win streaks of at least 8 games in the same season for the first time since 1973, aka the last time the Knicks won a title. Just saying. The story of the win over Boston, of course, was Emmanuel Quickley, who set himself a career high in points and minutes in the double overtime win. And in doing so, how about this? Emmanuel Quickley moved to a sizable minus 220 favorite to win the NBA's 6th Man of the Year award per. But all this Knicks success got me thinking. It got me thinking of just how special it is to be a fan of the New York Knicks at this moment, given everything the franchise has been through over the past decade or so. And I've determined that this is the 3rd best season of my life as a Knicks fan. Mind you, I'm 25 and have zero to no recollection of the late 90s final years. For me, it's the Knicks trading for Melo, Linsanity, and right now, that's just how special this is. And with that, I ask my good friend, Mr. Jason Cole. You seem to doubt the Knicks slightly because they beat Boston without Jalen Brown. But this time, these New York Knicks went on the road without our Jalen, and they had their Jalen, and we took it to them in double overtime. So with that, I asked the question, does Jason finally believe in the New York Knicks?
So I didn't say I didn't believe in them before. If you remember, I did say I was a huge fan, and I said I was an IQ fan along with a Quentin Grimes fan. But I just said, when it comes to the Celtics, I don't think they would. I don't see them beating them in a playoff series. However, I based that upon the fact that they played them last without Jalen Brown. But now Jalen Brown played and Jalen Brunson didn't play. And I apologize, New York. I'm so sorry from the bottom of my heart. New York fans, New York Knicks, everybody on the team, I apologize. You guys handed it to the Celtics.
So I said this before. I think the Knicks right now, what I love about them is that they are a bunch of scrappy, kind of late draft picks, young core group, and I think the obvious thing that people like to point to, oh, they're young, they're not experienced. But what people don't often point to, and I've always said this, is that when you are young, you believe a lot more, right? Like when we're young, when we're little kids, we all believe in Santa Claus. Even my Jewish ass believing in Santa Claus. It's not until you get older a little bit, right? And then like the doubt starts to creep in that like mom and dad were lying to you about Santa Claus. Like it's the same principle for the NBA. Like when you're young, that you don't have that experience where the doubt can creep in. And you see that when this Knicks team plays. They're fearless. Like they're not the most talented team, even though they have their number. I don't think they're more talented than Boston. I don't think they're more talented than Philadelphia. I don't think they're more talented than Milwaukee. I think it's a good matchup with Cleveland in terms of talent. I think it could kind of go either way, however you feel about it. But they have soul. Like this team has a lot of heart. And I think you saw that in the Boston game.
When 3 guys have 30, man, says a lot. And Jalen Brunson didn't play. If you was someone and I told you Jalen Brunson is going to sit out, 3 guys are going to have a 30 piece, you be trying to figure out which guy is going to have 30 because you can't count on RJ to have 30 every night. You just can't. And you're definitely not asking IQ to score 30.
But he got it in him.
He scored way more than 30.
He got it in him, and he had a career high in points, and the dude played 50 minutes and was running off of the court. Like, I don't think that can be understated just how good of a game Emmanuel Quickley had. And every time Brunson has gone down, which has not been a lot, or every time Brunson has had a bad game, which again has not been a lot, Quickley shows up. But the guy you spoke about last time, and I've spoken about him a lot too, obviously, we know Randall's killing it. We know RJ has his moments. We know how good Brunson is. What I want to say here is something you've also been saying. If you don't see what Quentin Grimes is doing for this New York Knicks team, you're not watching closely enough.
Right.
And I don't care what his stats are. I know he had
Right.
a big game a couple nights ago. He had like 6 threes or whatever. I know against Boston, he didn't do his stat line wasn't very good.
Didn't have a
But
great game.
if you watch Quinn Grimes and if you watch how this Knicks offense moves the ball, look at how the defenses collapse around Quentin Grimes every time he catches it.
He's a threat.
Because his trigger is so quick. And when the thing that he had to take the next step to do, because you knew he could shoot, when he puts the ball on the floor now, it's one dribble, Euro step. It's two dribbles, pump fake, layup. Like he's making effective moves that the defense is forced to react to. And what that's opening up for the rest of the team, I'm telling you, Quentin Grimes, he's not going to get the credit as like the best guy in the Knicks, and he shouldn't because other guys are doing things that are more impressive. But I would go as far to say that a large part of the Knicks' success is due to Quentin Grimes, and it won't show up on the stat sheet.
True story. Huge Quentin Grimes fan. The last show I started talking about Quentin Grimes being an X factor and how much I liked him. Him and IQ are the guys for me, right? Besides the Brunson, Barrett, and Randall. Besides that trio right there, and now you got Josh Hart. And I told you how much Josh Hart would boost Jalen Brunson just because him coming to the Knicks and them already sort of having a team. And now he got his homie from college, in which they won together. They didn't just go to school together. It's one thing to have a college teammate, right? And y'all cool. It's another to have one at the highest level when y'all were there at that level. Because now it's sort of carryovers into let's do the same thing.
Exactly.
I know there's not one person that is thinking the New York Knicks is going to win an NBA championship.
No.
So with that being said, I bet them two do.
They might. Yeah. I mean, they you have to be thinking that if you're them. And again, you're right. Like you do bring up a very good point because it's not like these are two guys who like played beer pong together in college and call themselves best friends. Like these are guys who went to the Final Four and won a national title with Villanova. Listen, I don't know how realistic it is for them the Knicks to like win a championship this season. I'm guessing not very. But to me, all you have to do is win a playoff series, maybe two, and you're going to get somebody else who wants to come join you. I don't know who it is, but that's all you have to do if you're the Knicks. But let's shift gears, though, because there was an interesting quote I heard, and I think it was, let me double check this real quick. It was Ian Begley who reported this. An anonymous opposing NBA coach said this about a Knicks playoff matchup. He said, quote, "You will get beat up on both sides of the ball. You'll feel it over the course of a series against the Knicks," the coach said. Continued quote, "Even if you beat them, they will wear you out in a 7-game series." And if you watch the Knicks in a league of millionaire, sometimes, dare I say soft guys who don't necessarily love contact, the Knicks are a team straight out of the 90s. Julius Randle, say what you want about his game. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder. Mitchell Robinson, say what you want about his game. He's not afraid to get scrappy on the glass. Emmanuel Quickley, you see how he does not back down from anybody. Quentin Grimes got himself a nice little pair of clamps, playing some solid perimeter defense. That's what is interesting about this Knicks team. It's bully ball, right? It's bully ball, but we've seen bully ball teams as of late don't win titles because you need to be flashy. You need to be offensive.
We can't jump to the titles thing though, Hank. You know why?
No. But I'm saying, do you agree that the Knicks kind of bring this bully ball style? And two, does it concern you long term?
It doesn't concern me long term because I think they're now trying to find their identity, right? Mm-hmm. Because this is a new team. Mm-hmm. Clearly, because they're having new success. We were never talking about the Knicks doing anything.
No.
Okay. So let's stop that. So the fact that we're actually talking about them getting further into the playoffs shows you something. It means they're an actual threat. And with the style that they play that you referred to as bully ball, I do like how, rugged they play. They just scrappy. They just out there hooping. I feel like each player doesn't care whose night it is. And that part is what takes them over the top. Like it could be RJ's night, and he went for 41, and Julius Randle was lit, hype for him, happy for him, clapping for him, feeding him, still giving the rock to him, making sure he check. You know,
Yeah.
other teams don't do that. I'm not gonna say no names, point no elbows, but at the end of the day, other teams are not like that. You'll see a guy hit 2 shots in a row, and they'll go away from him.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting that when you watch New York. Brunson will come down and shoot 6 in a row, and Julius Randle will be one of the people giving it to him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a good point, too. Like, Thibodeau has done, it can't be understated how good of a job he's done making these guys believe in that, I have a good shot, but you have a great shot type attitude. And
Yeah.
I think it was the COVID year team that made the playoffs for the Knicks. There was the year Brooklyn had assembled their big three, the big three that never was, I guess. And I think that for a while, the Knicks were calling themselves the Big 15, like, is all of us. And you saw, like, if a guy hit the deck, the whole bench would come pick him up.
I definitely remember because Evan Fournier was killing.
Yeah,
he was killing. He was killing. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. All right, last thing before we get out of here. And I thought this was interesting, and I'm curious your reaction here. Now, as you know, I'm a former member of the media, dare I say still current in my endeavors as it lies today. But one CBS Sports, again, mostly known for their college basketball, but they do dabble with NBA topics, discussion, whatnot. CBS Sports released their latest edition of the NBA Power Rankings. And in these CBS Sports Power Rankings, who was number one? The New York Knicks.
For the East or for the entire NBA?
For the entire NBA.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay. So we now know one of two things. CBS isn't credible anymore. We won't listen to them about NBA things. And number two, who was the guy's name you mentioned?
Who?
Did you mention anybody who reported that? Oh, it's just CBS Sports.
No, it's CBS Sports, just their
Oh,
power.
yeah, they won't put a name to that. Exactly. No. you wouldn't, or you shouldn't. And you can't and you won't. Please don't. They're number one. They beat this up. Now they're number one. Man, come on.
9 games in a row. Listen, are the Knicks the best team in the NBA right now? No. Do I love that
number one means?
But I'm saying, do I love that they're number one in this power rankings? Sure, yeah. I mean, it gives good talk. It's better than any credit you'll see Stephen A. Smith or someone like that giving them. They're just like negative Nancy's constantly. But
the Knicks is doing their thing. Shout out to the New York Knicks, man.
I said it off the top of the show. I'll say it as we close. Carmelo Anthony's acquisition to the Knicks, Linsanity, and right now, the 3 best periods I've experienced in my life as a Knicks fan.
Shout out to Melo. Shout out to Melo.
Last thing, did you notice I shaved today?
I see you looking like you 16 and a half, like I said earlier. My man mad at me. Listen, man, be a friend of a friend. Go hit that button, man.